Welcome to the Music for the Soul podcast, where we talk honestly about difficult things. This is a place where music, hope, and healing come together. I'm Becky Nordquist.
And I'm Steve Siler, and I've got some good news for our listeners today. We're not going to talk about difficult things. We're going to talk about things that are fun and a blessing. So welcome in for a relaxing, joyous, holiday-toned discussion.
Well, now I got to say, you kind of contradicted yourself there because sometimes the holidays can be extremely difficult. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. So welcome to the podcast. We're gonna talk about difficult things.
No, I think what we're going to offer is a way to get through some of the difficult things by a project that we are putting out into the world for such a time as this, the holiday season. But we'll get to that in a little bit because I don't know about you, but my house Christmas is beginning to move up onto the main level of the floor. The baking smells and sounds have invaded my kitchen space, which is something I love. And so I'm actually going to kind of interview you today about a few things, and we're going to talk about some favorites, right?
Okay.
Because we all have our holiday favorites, don't you? You have holiday
Absolutely.
favorites? Okay.
Absolutely.
So my first question to you is, what is Steve Siler's favorite Christmas cookie?
Favorite Christmas cookie? Well, this isn't going to sound very holiday-ish, but my dad used to make a boatload of oatmeal raisin cookies for Christmas because, there are going to be so many people around. So he didn't make like a dozen or 2 dozen or 3. He made like 4 dozen. And then a couple days later, he'd make 4 dozen more. And they were the kind of thing where you'd walk through and I'll just have one of these. And then it would melt in your mouth. And you'd go, well, that didn't take long. I'll have a second one of those. So we'd blow through 4 dozen of those puppies in a day or two, and he'd just do it again. So I really, it gives me fond memories of my dad who passed this last year. Because the only way those are going to happen again is if I make them, and that's probably never going to happen. So that's a really sweet memory for me. No pun intended on the sweetness.
Well, and oatmeal raisin cookies, I have to kind of come to your side on this one. They are universal. I mean, you have oatmeal and you have raisins. So this could work for a breakfast coffee cookie.
A breakfast cookie. I like that.
A breakfast cookie. It's got oatmeal. It's got raisins. I mean, what more do you need for your body for the day through the holidays but an oatmeal raisin cookie?
Okay.
Is Dad Siler's recipe floating out there? Like, say if one would want?
We have, it's actually hysterical. For people who do not cook, and Meredith and I really just do not cook, we must have 10 or 12 cookbooks. I mean, we have thousands of recipes in the house, none of which are ever going to come to fruition as actual food. But yeah, so I'm sure it's up there somewhere. I just don't know where it is.
So he didn't write it down on a special recipe card for you?
No. And if he had, I wouldn't be able to read it. So
I wonder if it was like the one that's actually on the oatmeal box, because those are pretty good.
Yeah, you know what? Wouldn't surprise me at all.
And you can always omit raisins if you don't like raisins. Like I personally just like oatmeal cookies, but that's me.
Okay.
So I have to say that I am very conflicted because I have the best sugar cookie recipe in the entire free world. I'm just going to say it. You know me. I don't like to brag, but I mean,
no modesty required when we're talking about
I am
food.
not kidding. I am just going to toot this horn for just a second. I have made adjustments, and this is, oh my goodness, you can literally, and the best thing about this recipe is that you don't have to chill the dough. So it's boom, make the dough.
But it's okay if you chill with your personality.
Totally. And the decoration of the sugar cookie. After you cut it, I'm telling you, they don't even need royal icing because these cookies by themselves are royal.
Okay.
Did you see what I did there?
I did, and I'll be waiting for the box to show up here at the house so that I can sample and confirm.
I think I might be able to arrange that now that you've said it.
Now we're getting somewhere.
This is important. This is important topic. I mean, this is important. The not difficult part of the holidays.
Right.
My next question.
Yes.
Your favorite Christmas memory with your kids?
Favorite Christmas memory with the kids? Oh, gosh. one year we'd moved into a new house and everything was torn up and nothing was where it was supposed to go. And Meredith and I wound up sleeping on the floor in the attic because we had so many house guests. And Stephanie, our daughter, who was 5 years older than our son Henry, was in Henry's room. And she kind of realized what was going on when Santa came to visit. And we could hear her, what she was saying to him in this stage whisper, like, Henry, Santa's going to come tonight and everything, right? She was keeping him in the room while we were doing the deed. And it was just so beautiful to hear her stepping into that role and wanting to maintain the magic of that for our son. So that's easy. That's an easy one. And of course, it was such fun sleeping on the floor. So,
okay. So I've got to tell you, like, I mean, I heard what you said, but all I could visualize is you guys sleeping on the floor in this attic. And it takes me right back. This is so bad. But that scene in Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where he gets stuck in the attic and he puts on all of these, like, this fur and this woman's like head wrap, and he's watching old family videos and he falls through the floor of the attic. All I can see is you and Meredith sleeping in between, what do they call them? The braces that run in an old attic, you know, with the drop downstairs.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's now one of my new favorite visuals of you and Meredith.
Well, since you brought up movies, though, let's go favorite Christmas movies.
Oh, man. We begin Christmas movie watching on the Friday after Thanksgiving. This is a serious ritual. And I mean, there's not necessarily an order, but for me, I have to start with the original Miracle on 34th Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of kicks off from there. It's funny because I've acted and performed in Scrooge a zillion times since I was like the age of 7 or 8 through varying roles. So I love the story of A Christmas Carol. However, I haven't actually found a version that I'm absolutely in love with other than the George C. Scott version.
I'm going Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, okay. I was just going to bring up the Muppet Christmas Carol because that would be, it's probably tied with George C. Scott. I mean, the music is great. The characters are great. That was a staple for us for a long time. But then, I mean, Elf. I mean, really, I love Elf.
Elf nailed it. Elf nailed it.
You know what? And have you ever heard any of the conversations with him? Like, he's like, I'm running around New York City in these tights and I'm thinking this is going to be the biggest mistake of my career. And oh my goodness, it's a must watch every single year.
Yeah. I think it's because he embraced it so completely,
right?
You know, that it actually comes alive with just this sense of wonder. He captures the wonder of Christmas.
Yeah.
And who cannot laugh out loud when you think, you sit upon a throne of lies, right?
You smell like beef and cheese.
Just wonderful stuff. The one that we never fail to watch, which I guess that's a negative way of saying, the one we always watch is Christmas in Connecticut, which goes way back to the 40s. It's Barbara Stanwyck, Sidney Greenstreet. That's fun. It's Christmas for us when we watch that. Who doesn't love It's a Wonderful Life? But a personal favorite of mine also is The Family Man with Nicolas Cage and Téa Leoni. You don't think of Nicolas Cage as a warm, fuzzy Christmas guy because he's always tearing things up and running things over and all. But that movie is really, really sweet. So that's another one I like to watch.
Well, you just added 2 to my list to watch this year. I'm going to have to check those
Happy
out.
to
I
help.
think I've seen Christmas in Connecticut. Of course, White Christmas. Oh, come on. I mean, I can't go a year without White Christmas. The music, the acting. There was a couple scenes that I felt like could have been deleted. In all honesty, between you and I, don't tell anyone. But I love that story. And you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life. And a lot of our listeners know my story, but when you have faced, I'd be better off not being here during the holidays. That is the one that I make sure that I watch every Christmas Eve because we have a tradition, and I want to ask you about your traditions, but I have a tradition once I'm done wrapping, because I'm, last minute, and I probably will not have everything wrapped until Christmas Eve at 11:30. But I love sitting by the tree with all the lights off except the Christmas lights with my warm beverage, and we will have watched It's a Wonderful Life. And I just sit there and think about what a wonderful life it is. Yeah. And for years and years, I spent too many years
fixated on all of the things that were wrong and all of the things that were hard about familial relationships or even just trauma and things that have happened to me, but to take the moment to pause and think about all of the things that have been wonderful and how life, I would have missed so many things if I would have given up.
Yeah.
And, so to count those blessings before the year end and
Mhm.
look back at God's goodness and grace.
It's funny that you say this because after everybody's gone to bed, I'm always the last one to go to bed on Christmas Eve. And I do exactly what you said. I turn out all the
Ah,
lights, turn just the lights of the tree on, and sit quietly and just reflect. So that's
oh
really
my goodness.
interesting that you do that as well.
Ah,
But
I had no idea.
as long as you're talking about traditions, I already said that, we don't really like to cook at our house, but we always do have a happy birthday dinner for Jesus. And
Nice.
we always have tacos because,
Jesus would approve,
he he would have loved tacos, I'm pretty sure. And we always have a birthday cake and we light the candles and we gather around the table and join hands and sing happy birthday to Jesus. That's without fail. That's my favorite Christmas tradition.
That's so great. Now, do you do that on Christmas or when do you
Hmm.
like at what point?
On Christmas, on the actual day. Yeah.
I love that idea. I love that. Like Christmas evening tacos would be like the first, like
Because
that's such a
nobody wants any
perfect
more
dinner.
turkey, right?
Or ham. I mean, like
Yeah.
you probably
We've
had a
already
bigger
done it.
meal during the day.
We've gorged on that stuff already. It's time for something fresh. That was my wife's idea, and I approved heartily of that.
Well, she is
Look
a
forward to it.
brilliant woman. I mean, come on. Let's just give Mare a little shout out. She is brilliance in a body. So
Well,
there's that.
thanks. What about decor? Do you have a favorite item that you can't wait to pull out of the Christmas decorations box or boxes?
Wow. I'm actually currently weeding through them and getting rid of a bunch because there's a bunch of
Reading
them. Like,
through them. Well,
weeding
that's
through
a
them.
warm, sentimental thing to say.
I'm all about the real, right? I mean, come on. There's very little people don't know about me now. But, there's some things that have become dear to me. My mother-in-law she's now in a retirement home and she gifted us her little village of
Uh-huh.
houses. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to get that out this year. I always have I have this ornament that I've had since I became an adult, and it's always the last one to go on the tree. And it's this pewter, it looks like wood.
Mhm.
And then on a red ribbon, there's a nail that hangs from it. And it says, I can't remember exactly what the inscription is, but it's just that memory that our tree represents the tree that Christ died on. And he died so that we could be free. And so that's always one of my favorite things to pull out every year and just remember that and be grateful. And yeah, I love looking at all the macaroni ornaments over the years.
Yeah, when you talk about food ornaments, my wife, I wanted to go to all 50 states from the time I was very young, and I finally achieved it. And that year, my wife baked the United States of America. I don't know what substance it was, some dough, I guess, but that hung on the tree for a couple of years. And then finally, Florida fell off and we had to throw it away. So you talk about weeding through the decor. It's like, I guess this one's done.
I really hope that's not providential, like prophetic.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Rising oceans. No doubt our favorite when our son was in school, the teachers always come up with creative ways to make ornaments. And so they took a woman's stocking, like a hose, and a hanger, and they made the hanger in the shape of like a reindeer nose and stretched the hose out over the hanger and then decorated it with eyeballs in it. So we hang that as the centerpiece on the chandelier above our dining room table every year.
Yeah.
We're going on like 25 years now, and Henry is always mortified to see that decoration reappear, but we love it.
Has the reindeer gained any runs?
No, not yet. Amazingly. No.
Wow. They must have used like Control Top or something.
Good stuff. Good
stuff.
Stuff.
For sure. There is one tradition that I didn't mention. I have to give a shout out to all my wonderful daughters. My daughters and we get together early in the month of December and we do what we call our Christmas cookie bake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's morphed over the years. So we have family favorites that are recipes that have been passed down. Like my mom had special cookies that she made every year, filled cookies, Russian tea cakes, and the candy cane cookies that are red and white. And it just becomes this thing where we put on Christmas music. We have a little table of appetizers and we bake cookies and decorate cookies, and everything's a mess, but we laugh. And at times we've invited other people that don't have daughters. My sisters will come sometimes, and it's just been a joy. Typically, like I've gotten all matching shirts and buffalo check shirts, and it's just a wonderful time to have relationship and time with each other, because that's what's important. Because
what the holidays should be about, right?
Right. And we don't have to deal with anything really super hard. I think this year, though, we're going to be doing a cookie exchange, and then we'll just decorate my amazing, I'm just going to say again, amazing sugar cookies together.
I've heard those are good.
Yeah, it's getting around.
We'd be delinquent as the Music for the Soul podcast hosts if we did not talk about favorite Christmas songs.
You have a point.
So what is yours? Can only pick one.
Only one?
Only one.
Man, that's impossible for me.
You have to think about it. I'll go first, and then you can.
I have musical whiplash in my life. Honestly, my knee-jerk response was going to be Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
A nice one. Yeah.
I'm really deep and spiritual. The reason for the season. Drinking too much eggnog. Just kidding. But then you got all serious on me. Shoot, now I got to think about this. Okay, you go first.
Without a doubt, for me, it's a song called Some Children See Him. And my favorite recording of it is James Taylor, far and away. It's a song really about how Christmas is for every child in the world, regardless of origin, of race, of creed, of color. Some children see him Black, some children see him Asian, some children see him Hispanic, and so on. And this particular arrangement, his voice is perfect for it. But this particular arrangement is so, so special. One year for Christmas, every year they ask me if I want to play something at the Christmas service. And of course, I've written a bunch of Christmas songs. So usually I'll dip into my own catalog. But this one year I thought, I have to share this song with our congregation. And so I actually sat down and spent a day or two, because that's how long it took, learning every single chord change in this incredible arrangement, and got to share that with our congregation. So if our listeners have not heard that, I really encourage you to check out Some Children See Him, the James Taylor version.
I love that. And for you to say that it took you that long to figure it out, I'm not sure if everyone realizes the caliber of talent that this man has. So if he said it took a couple days, I'm like sitting here going, well, it's hopeless for me to learn that, because if it took him that long, it'll take me 3 years. So golly, one song? I have to break the rules. I can't do that. That's impossible for me.
You break a rule? Amazing. I can't believe it.
Do I sense some sarcasm in your voice, Mr. Siler? I gotta go with Oh Holy Night. It makes me cry just thinking about it. And there's not even one particular version that I'm just
Andy Williams
in love with.
Andy Williams.
Yeah.
Did I say Andy Williams?
You said Andy Williams, and I like it. I do. I'm like I said, I can't say one particular version, but oh gosh, I've sung so many versions of it too over the years. Like Sandy Patty had a great version of it, and oh my goodness, there's so many. And then remember Crystal Lewis?
Yes, of course. Well, you're all serious on Oh Holy Night. Now I think I've told these stories on a previous podcast. But real quick, the time I was out caroling with our congregation and we got the request for Oh Holy Night, and we started in a key that was too high. And before we got to the bridge, I thought, oh my word, this is not going to go well. And the look on the people's faces, they're trying to be supportive, but it's all coming apart. That was really special. And then the time that I had a friend who was going to be singing one of my songs on Good Morning America, she was a young girl. And when she got to New York, the lady switched it up and wanted her to sing Oh Holy Night. And the girl's mom called me and said, Steve, I think Satan is behind this. And I'm like, wait a minute. You just said Satan is behind Oh Holy Night. Don't think so, but okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I can actually, I envisioned when you were talking about the caroling mishap. Oh my goodness. Gosh. It's the panic look of every soprano. Like, you did not start there, because I know where this goes, and this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Holy Night, I love the Crystal Lewis version and the orchestral arrangement. I think it's Sandy Patty from,
Mhm.
back then.
I feel like Sandy Patty could start in any key and still hit the high
Oh,
notes.
well, hello, Miss 4 octave range, whatever. And she can sing it all beautifully in the day. And so that would be probably, but I love What Child Is This? My brother and I actually he was a guitarist, an incredible guitarist. And so every year, if we get the chance, he and I we do vocals and we did an arrangement of Away in the Manger that's a little more
Mhm.
adultish. And so singing is a big thing in my family too. But those are some of the more sacred or based, if you will, songs.
Mhm.
But I love, like White Christmas and I'll Be Home for Christmas. I'm kind of old in my taste.
Okay, we're
Like,
up to 4 or 5 now. You gotta rein it in.
I mean, Silver Bells. I can still hear my mom in the kitchen cooking,
Oh,
singing Silver Bells.
okay, now you did it. I was at this event at the Wiltern Theater in California where several amazing writers were sharing stories about their songs, and the writers who wrote Silver Bells were there. And they were talking
Mhm.
about they were writing the song, working in the living room at the piano, and their wives were in the kitchen preparing Christmas stuff.
Mhm.
And one of the wives came in the room. Apparently, the line they had was "Tinkle Bells," not "Silver Bells." And the wife came in the room and said, there's another meaning to tinkle. You might want to reconsider that. So we actually have the wives on that one to thank for the Silver Bells, which certainly brings out a completely different response. And now I've probably ruined the song for everybody for all time to come, but I
Oh
thought
my
that was hysterical.
goodness. I was just going to say thank you so much. I will never hear that song the same. But
Tinkle
what I really want to
bells.
know is did they give them writing
Oh,
creds
if
for
they did,
that
if
one?
they didn't, I hope they gave him the royalty
Oh.
check because that one just kept delivering.
So speaking of great music and fun music and funny music, music for the little soul Christmas. So this is something that I hope to bring on as another tradition in our house for all the grandbabies. And my
Yes.
kids are younger, so this will be a great addition. And could you just share a little bit like how it came to be?
Absolutely. John Mandeville and I were asked to write a series of children's songs for Tyndale House. They wanted to do basically a comprehensive set of songs of the Bible for kids, and it was called Kids Tunes. We wrote 164 songs. The project took 3 years to write and record. There's a song in there called "Little Children Come Unto Me" that a lot of churches use for their children's coming up for the children's time. It was really a great experience. And of course, as part of that, they asked us to write Christmas songs. Well, now with Christmas songs, of course, we've been talking about favorites. So we knew, okay, there have to be some standards on here. It's the classics people expect to hear. And there's a little town of Bethlehem and First Noel and Silent Night and Go Tell It on the Mountain and on and on. We did 15 of those total. And then we also thought, well, but let's do 15 originals. Let's do 15 new Christmas songs that are fun and energetic and kind of take a different look at it. One of the songs that I wrote was called Webster the Christmas Spider. Now, what's interesting about that is of the 164 songs we wrote, we actually wrote 165. Webster the Christmas Spider did not make the cut, which
Oh,
was devastating to me because
tragedy.
I loved Charlotte's Web as a
Yes.
child. Okay. So I kind of wrote that thinking of that book. And the idea was that Webster the Christmas Spider is up in the stable looking down on everything that's going on and tells the story, right? Who has a better perspective than Webster? So,
Right.
anyway, in all seriousness, the head of the company comes to the meeting and says, I love all these songs, but there's one song here that doesn't work. And I'm thinking, what on earth? What could it be? And he said, the Bible doesn't say anything about a spider. So we're going to have to drop or replace Webster the Christmas Spider. And so anyway, so I had to write another song to replace Webster the Christmas Spider. And it was so funny because the lady who'd hired me was so worried. She said, "Is Steve okay?" And Sean McSpadden, who was my publisher at the time, said, because I was a bit of a diva about it, honestly.
No.
I was upset. Yes, I was upset. And he said, "You'll have another song by tomorrow morning. He'll get over it." And of course I did.
Yeah.
I went home.
Yeah.
I was furious. I spit out another song. They loved it. And that was the end of that. But I still to this day grieve that Webster the Christmas Spider is not part of this collection. But there are some other really fun songs that are.
Now, wait a minute. I have to stop you right there. Did Webster the Christmas Spider ever get recorded?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I think I see a future goal here, accompanied by a book, because you are also a masterful storyteller, Mr. Siler.
Okay.
People don't know this about you. I think I see a children's book and a recording of this, and maybe even for the coming year. It should be a goal for you.
I'll get right on that. Of course.
I know you have nothing else going on. I want to read it.
Okay. Well, there are some fun songs on here, though. There's one called There Was Much Rejoicing, where we basically take the 12 days of Christmas and let the barnyard animals have their say. So here's a little bit of that.
Bethlehem was buzzing, a star was shining bright. There was much rejoicing on that silent night. Just how noisy was it? In the stable was a goat. Bethlehem was buzzing, a star was shining bright. There was much rejoicing on that silent night. Just how noisy was it? In the stable was a cow.
The fun thing about that song was that I've been asked many times to lead the congregation in the singing of that song, in the performance of that song. So I have to subdivide the congregation. Okay, you guys will be the donkeys and you guys will be the cows, right? And then I give everybody a number and point at them when it's their turn. And so I'm at the piano, and then I jump up and run around and point at people. And it's really frenetic and crazy and a whole lot of fun. The kids always get a kick out of that.
What a riot. I would just be very careful about who you assign the donkey role to. You can omit that if you want to. You kind of opened the door wide. I had to walk.
Yeah, I did. Another one that I really like is called A Very Merry Christmas to the World. And it's basically where the kids just wish Merry Christmas to all these individual groups at the speed of light. And here's a little bit of that.
Merry Christmas to the mommies, Merry Christmas to the daddies, Merry Christmas to the uncles, Merry Christmas to the aunties, Merry Christmas to the sisters, Merry Christmas to the brothers, Merry Christmas to the nieces and the nephews and the cousins, all the grandmas and the grandpas, a Merry, Merry Christmas to the world.
You know, I hear back from Sunday school teachers and people who teach Christmas shows to their kids about how much fun these are. And Scotty Kerpane told me a great story. He was at a fairly large church, and that song was performed. And he's like, why do I know this? Why do I know this song? It's so weird, right? So I said, dude. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's you.
That's awesome.
And then there's another one, and this one has really, it's interesting. This is a Music for the Soul bestseller, this next song, because of a church somewhere out there recorded this for their Christmas program, complete with like dance moves and everything. It's a song called No Room in the Inn. There's no room in the inn, but you can make room in your heart. So here's a little bit of that. Okay, so lest people think that all the songs are that way and that there's nothing sacred, okay? There are some original sacred songs, and here's one I really like. It's called The Lord Sent a Baby.
God wanted to tell us he loved us in a way that we'd never forget. So he looked down on Bethlehem town and sent our Savior to a manger. The Lord sent a baby. The Lord sent a baby. The Lord sent a baby to
there's some familiarity with that song. Does it echo perhaps another Christmas song that we have out in the world there?
Well, I wrote a song called "The Lord Sent a Child," which is one of our sacred Christmas songs, and we did an episode on that last year. And if people haven't heard it, I really encourage them to look it up.
Yeah.
"The Lord Sent a Child" is sung by Nita Whitaker, who's just fabulous, and the string arrangement is by our beloved Philip Kevrin, and Mark Baldwin plays the guitar. It's just a really nice piece. So we have that. We also have a song called "It Doesn't Feel Like Christmas This Year" for people who are grieving at the holidays for any reason. So both of those, of course, are at our website, but they're also on the streaming services. So if those would bless you this year, we'd love for you to listen to those as well. But what I did with Little Soul was there were 30 Christmas songs. And I thought, that's a lot. So I went through this year and I edited out my 5 least favorite of the originals. So you're getting like A-list crop of the originals. There's only 10 originals on there now and 15 classic, standard Christmas carols. So you can find that at musicforthesoul.org/resources, and then Music for the Little Soul Christmas. And there's a dash between each word. That's impossible to remember, I know. So it'll be in the show notes for people who want to check that out. And you can listen to all those at the website. And if you want to download it, you can for $10.
Nice. Yes. I love this. And I certainly love how you have expanded the musical reach of Music for the Soul by including things like this so that we can get a little reprieve from the hard topics, right? And we just want to wish you all a wonderful holiday season and just know that you are a blessing to us and we're grateful for you and we wish you all the very best that the end of this year can hold and God's best for your life.
Couldn't have said it better. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for joining us and being a part of the Music for the Soul family. If you enjoyed the discussion today, please share it with a friend and give us a positive review on iTunes.
And please visit our website, musicforthesoul.org, where you can stream or download every song in our catalog, including Music for the Little Soul Christmas. Read our lyrics, our healing music guide, our blog posts, and much more. Thank you so much for listening. God bless.